Alright guys, so after 5 years and having issues trying to find a way to watch Scoob, I can finally give you my thoughts on it. And I do have to say guys, I do agree with the majority of people when it said that Scoob is not so much a typical Scooby-Doo movie. In fact, Scooby, Shaggy, and Velma, Fred, and Daphne do end up being separated for for the majority of the movie. In fact, it's only towards the end that everybody comes back together. But anyway, guys, let me tell you something. Okay, this movie is basically like chock full of Hanna-Barbera references from 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 when Shaggy first brings Scooby home for the first time. After rescuing him from the police officer, after Scooby steals uh, a big piece of meat from 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 one local store, and accidentally bumped into Shaggy, uh, um, and a- 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 and and it turns out, guys, that that Shaggy is kind of like this average lonely kid that 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 really doesn't have any friends, and and uh, and then after Shaggy basically saves Scooby from being taken to the pound, he he and Scooby and Shaggy share their first weird sandwich together. Sh- um, when 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 Shaggy takes Scooby home, and let me tell you guys, there are a ton of Hanna-Barbera references from Shaggy having a from having a Penelope Pitstop plane to him having an action figure of Frankenstein Jr. To a poster of the X-Girls in their original Witchy Ghost design. May I add to a to the bowling alley that Scooby and Shaggy go bowling in, located right next to Mr. Peebles' pet shop. And of course, Mr. Peebles is famous for Miguel Gorilla for sale. To a billboard of Squidly Diddly. It it Anyway, guys. Shaggy gives Scooby his dog tags as kind of like a symbol of their friendship, and Scooby promises after he says what that he's never had a bed or anything like this before. He promises to never take it off, and then we cut to Scooby and Shaggy's first Halloween, where kind of like the bullies of the neighborhood. You can call them like the red herring of the kids of the younger version of the gangs for the first 12 minutes of the movie, I guess. Uh, 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 and the two kids throw Scooby and Shaggy's bag of candy into this supposed haunted house, Mr. Rigby, and and ended after meeting Fred, Velma, and Daphne. That they basically decide to go into Mr. Rigby's house and and they basically find out that he's been the one that's been dressing up like a ghost to sort of hide the fact that he's, to quote Shaggy's exact line from the movie, he, he's sort of been stealing objects to create the world's smallest Walmart. And then after recreating an exact copy of the original Scooby-Doo Where Are You intro, and cutscenes, we come to about 10 years later where the gang is basically ready to turn Mystery Inc. into an actual business. So they arrange a meeting with Simon Cowell, from American Idol and X Factor, who basically almost treats the meeting like a One Direction signing meeting, I guess you could say. And right before Simon has a chance to say anything, Scooby and Shaggy kind of do like a little American Idol audition for him, and of course Simon says, "Oh, that was terrible," and then he does say that Fred, Velma, and Daphne actually do have something special and unique, but that Scooby and Shaggy weren't listening to an absolute thing that Simon was saying throughout the whole meeting. In fact, he calls Fred the tank, Daphne the impasse, and Velma the brain, but he doesn't necessarily but he doesn't give Scooby and Shaggy a title in the group at all, because Simon says flat out that he doesn't think friendship will ever accomplish anything. So that kind of makes Scooby and Shaggy a little angry, and so that they go decide to blow off some steam at the bowling alley, where they have their first encounter with the villain of the movie, Dick Dastardly, being that they have their first dance with the Dick's robot minions, who are filling in for Muttley because Muttley got lost for a reason I'll reveal in a second. The 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 Rotten's job, and Rotten is the name of the robot guys. Their job is to basically kidnap Scooby, because he's the key to basically unlocking the gate to the underworld, and releasing Cerberus, the guardian of the gates of the underworld. And that's because Dick actually wants the treasure that Alexander the Great and his dog Perseverus actually buried in the underworld, and because Scooby is the last of Perseverus's bloodline, Scooby's the only one that can unlock the gate. Um, but um, but 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 the Rottens ultimately fail because Scooby and Shaggy get beamed up by the Falcon Fury. Now one now, as everybody knows, if you have seen the movie by now, everybody, you know that Brian, the Blue Falcon in this movie, is actually the original Blue Falcon's son, and Dynamite and the Cyber Angel Dee Dee from Captain Caveman, which we'll get to Cavey a little later here. That they are basically trying to find the skulls observers, because Dick already has one, and he ends up getting two because Brian does not listen to Dee Dee or Dynamite, and go to this desert where the second skull observers is. And so, guys, very slowly but surely, that and Brian in this movie for pretty much the entirety of the movie, isn't respected by anybody because he literally acts like somebody that just took his dad's old uniform. After the original Blue Falcon retired to Palm Beach. And so Brian takes the whole superhero thing as kind of a joke. But somehow, even without knowing originally that Scooby is the only one that can unlock servers and lock him back away, Brian just thinks that that Scooby's special for some reason, and it's the key to solving the mystery. Well, instead of going to the desert where the second skull is, Blue Falcon, Dee Dee, Shaggy, and Scooby and Dynamite actually end up going to the fun park amusement park where in the original series we see Charlie the robot for his one and only appearance, except for like I said earlier, reintroduced cameo when they recreate the opening to Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And so it then becomes a race to find the last skull observers, but we do find out that that there is another reason why Dick needs the gates to the underworld unlocked, because some time ago Dick and his former partner Muttley actually opened up a back door to the underworld to get Alexander the Great's treasure, and Muttley was actually went into the portal to start taking the treasure out of the underworld, but Dick got but Muttley unfortunately got trapped there, and it is nice to see that that even though Dick's main purpose is to get the treasure of Alexander the Great and Perseverus from the underworld, that he is actually missing for his former partner in crime, if nothing else, because the Rottens are absolutely pathetic at their job. In fact, when 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 Fred, Velma, and Daphne are captured by Dick after Dick pulls off one of his multiple master of disguise tricks throughout the movie, that 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 they do actually end up finding Dick's sort of like secret memorial to him at the end. Daphne ends up befriending the malfunction Rotten that Dick basically made an example out of after they failed to get Scooby back. So that he could be used to bring out Cerberus. And guys, Shaggy and Scooby do end up almost having a non-mendable rib in their friendship because the second that Brian gives Scooby like his own blue Falcon suit, and Scooby has to take his dog tags off because they interfere with the suit being able to be finished, and even though Shaggy gives Scooby like the nod, as soon as those dog tags are off, Shaggy does end up saying like oh, you look fine, and 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 what he ends up telling Brian is that 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 ever since that they've been picked up by Blue Falcon and Scooby took his dog tags off, Shaggy's feeling like he's losing his only friend, and yeah, guys, that actually makes me miss Casey all the more because because just the overall chemistry that Frank and Will Forte have, which, by the way, guys, I know that this is an unpopular opinion, but I actually think that Will Forte does an excellent job as Shaggy, and just the overall bickering that they get into after Scooby said after they land on Mystery Island, which is basically like it might as well be a dead Easter egg for what Bedrock could look like in this Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe. Shaggy says, "Oh, I'm staying here," and Scooby is too, because we've always been chickens. And then after Scooby goes with Blue Falcon, Dynamite, and Dee Dee, Shaggy blurts out that Simon was right, and maybe friendship really doesn't mean anything. And guys, the actual guardian of the last skull of Cerberus does happen to be Captain Caveman, who says that the thing that Cerberus's last skull is resting on is a slag opal, which is a reference to Wilma's mother Wilma's maiden name from the Flintstones, and it turns out that Cavey is sort of like the guardian of Mystery Island, and so he brings out the what like these whole bunch of other characters from wacky races, the Doom Twins or 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 whatever they were called, and and it's with a little help from Fred, which again ultimately ends up to be Dick. Um, and Dick finally does manage to get through Scooby to to to, to get him to unlock the gates to Cerberus, and 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 it's after the real Fred, Bella, and Daphne finally do see do meet up with Scooby and Shaggy and Blue Falcon, Brian and Dee Dee and Dynamite again after Velma tries several times find a way to contact Scooby and Shaggy. Like she even goes kind of like tries the whole Deoxys thing and tries to use a dynamite as a kind of like a telephone because she acts into dynamite circuits, and 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 um and it's only after Dick finally destroys the mystery machine that Fred finally does put on its trademark ascot, even if it is only for this brief second, and tries to attack Cerberus to avenge his baby, the mystery machine that Brian finally breaks down and says, "Hey, look, I gotta call my dad about this because I'm not cut out for this real pressure." And then that's when Dynamite finally does sort of like finally accept that Brian isn't the original Blue Falcon, but Brian ultimately does realize that he can help put servers back into the gates, but by using the upgrades to his Blue Falcon suit, and he finally sees his hero moment. And while all this is going on, guys, Scooby and Shaggy finally do engage, and I guess like the most Scooby-Doo feeling chase of the movie, which again actually has the original "Where Are You" theme song playing in the background, but but it, but 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 even though Dick is finally able to enter the gate to the underworld and actually find Muttley again, Dick and Muttley get out of there for the time being, and then Fred ultimately reveals to everybody that Velma, sadly, has to reveal to Scooby and Shaggy that even though Brian finally manages to Brian and Dynamite finally do manage to force Blue servers back into the underworld gate. The 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 Scoob, Scooby, Scooby and Scooby and his best friend, that being Shaggy, have to one of them has to lock the gate from the outside, and 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 the other must lock the gate from the inside, and so and so Shaggy makes the ultimate sacrifice by being the one to decide to lock the gate from inside the underworld, and it's after Shaggy's like noble sacrifice that Fred, Velma, Velma and Daphne finally figure out what Scooby and Shaggy's true role is, and that's the art of Mystery Inc. But after Scooby asks Shaggy to return, thanks to a message led by Alexander the Great himself, Shaggy is released from the underworld, and all 5 members of the gang actually are reunited at last. And Dig pulls off one more clever disguise in putting on a mask that 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 makes everybody think that Simon's been the one behind all this, but it does end up being Dig, and they both get carried away. And then the last thing before the movie ends is the 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 gang finally does get to open their own mystery shop, and then Scooby and Shag basically hire Blue Falcon and Dee Dee and Dynamite to basically be the DJ, and then the last thing before the credits roll is the 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 gang basically gets the case to go solve the mystery of Captain Cutler's ghost, and then the last thing that Scooby and Shaggy say is, I guess friendship really did pay off, and more importantly, save the world. And then Scooby says, let's Scooby-Dooby do this. And boom, that's the movie, guys. And just overall, guys, I will say that yes, this isn't your typical Scooby-Doo movie. In fact, perhaps it just served best as a really good Hanna-Barbera movie, but at the end of the day, you still do get some really heartfelt moments between Scooby and Shaggy, because at the end of the day, guys, that's what Scoob was meant to be at its core. A story about why Scooby and Shaggy's friendship is so important, and who knew that their friendship would literally play a part in literally saving the world from basically falling to the going into the depths of hell, basically. And yeah, guys, again, I really did enjoy the movie. I thought it was really good. But one quick thing I do want to address is I am so sick and tired of everybody saying, oh, they should have got Matt to come back and voice Shaggy, or something that Great Delisle posted on Twitter, which since it was Gray saying this, I can give her a bit more respect, because she has been the voice of Daphne for nearly 20 years. But I am still so sick and tired of hearing virtually everybody say that man. I wish that they got the original Scooby-Doo cast to come back and do this. And guys, I hate to give you a little history lesson here, but there are only two members, and Frank is the only one still active in terms of still doing voice work. There are only two members of the real original Scooby-Doo voice cast left, and that's Frank Welker and Velma's original voice actress from Scooby-Doo Where Are You? The rest of the Scooby-Doo Where Are You original cast was and will always will be not Matthew Lillard, not Kate McCucci, Gray, I'm excluding you from this, my love, because you have been the voice of Daphne for over 20 years, and you and Frank are the ones that do have the most history together. But still, at the end of the day, the original Scooby-Doo cast was Frank Welker, Heather North, again, whatever Velma's original voice actress name is, Don Messick, who courtesy of archive recordings, does make a cameo as Space Kook, and even Captain Cutler again in the recreation of the Where Are You intro. But Frank, Don, Heather, which is Daphne's original voice actor, whatever Velma's original actress's name is, and of course Casey Kasem. And of those, and of all those, Frank and Gray, even though she's not the original voice of Daphne, out of all those, Frank and Gray are the ones with the longest stint in their respective roles as Scooby and Daphne. Matt Willard and Kate McCucci absolutely do not have the right, I believe, to be called a part of the original Scooby-Doo cast, because Matthew Lord, especially in my opinion, spits on the legacy that was created by Casey for 40 years. But and again, guys, as far as Kate McCucci being the new voice of Velma, I don't really dig that either. But the two of them have no right to be called members of the original Scooby-Doo cast, because, again, aside from Frank and Gray Delisle, they are the only ones that have the right to say that. Kim and Matthew especially, has no right. So I am sick and tired of everybody saying, oh, they should have gotten the original cast. Frank is the only active member left of the original cast. And how dare anybody once again say, and I don't care what kind of flag I get for this, but they prefer Matthew's joke of an interpretation over Scott Imes, or of course Casey Kasem. In my opinion, guys, Will Forte absolutely blows Matthew Willard's interpretation of Shaggy out of the water. Besides, what did you expect? This is supposed to generate the start of an Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe. So, 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 so what do you do to try and start reviving a franchise? You get a cast of names. Probably the only reason that Frank even voiced Scooby to begin with is because Tony, the director, probably asked Frank personally. But I am so sick and tired of everybody saying that 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 they wanted Matt to do Shaggy because, in my opinion, he has no business ever stepping in a recording booth as Shaggy Rogers again. But anyway, guys, getting away from that, I thoroughly did enjoy the movie, and I personally do want to dedicate this review to the memory of Don, Heather, and Casey, and of course, to, also to the memory of the masters behind the behind Hanna-Barbera. I'd like to dedicate this review also to William, Anna, and Joseph Barbera. So Don, Heather, Casey, Will, Joe, I'd like to personally dedicate this review to your memory. And again, I do believe that Tony, the director behind this movie, while everything wasn't perfect, he did at least do the art aspect of what makes Scooby so lovable justice. And for that, Tony, I say thank you. But again, guys, I really did enjoy this movie. For for Forget that little rant about the whole casting side. I I I I I personally think that 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 Zach and Will were the best out of the cast, and like I said, Frank 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 is a legend on his own, and of course, as always, his performance was flawless. But again, as far as I'm concerned, only Frank and Gray did have a reason to have her opinions on not being offered to be involved. But as far as I'm concerned, Matthew and Kate have absolutely no bar, especially you, Matthew. As far as I'm concerned, you have no right to ever step behind the booth as Shaggy Rogers again, because in my opinion, you spit on the legacy created by Casey 51 years ago this year. And personally, I hope that Will Forte would hopefully get the offer to come and be the new voice of Shaggy. But again, guys, I want to dedicate this review to Don, Heather, Casey, Will, and Joe. But thank you, Will and Joe, for helping Scooby be brought into the world of animation 51 years ago. And again, Don, Heather, Casey, Will, Joe, I'd like to dedicate this review to your memory. Check out Scoob, everybody. You'll be in for an heartfelt adventure. Again, dedicated to the original voices of Scooby-Doo, Daphne, and Shaggy, and to the creators of Hanna-Barbera, William Annan, and Joseph Barbera. Thank you guys for your time. Enjoy school if you have not seen it already, and stay safe.